I ask no favor for my sex. All that I ask is for my brethren to take their feet off our necks. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's favorite quote according to CNN documentary RBG. When you look at Justice Ginsburg's life and accomplishments, it's easy to see that this quote truly personifies everything that she stands for and continues to work for in her career. Over the last 5 decades, we have seen this woman shape numerous areas of our everyday life and the everyday life of countless others. Today I will tell you, through analysis of this simple quote, exactly why Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is so deserving and meritorious of this Lifetime Achievement Award. I ask no favor for my sex. From the very beginning of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's life, she was well aware of the disparity and inequality she faced as a young woman growing up in the mid-1900s. This, however, did not stop her. She received her undergraduate degree from Cornell University and continued her education through Harvard Law School. While she was a student at Harvard Law School, she didn't expect to be given an easier workload or more opportunities, but simply wanted to have an equal opportunity to pursue her love of the law. As one of 9 women in a class of over 900, Justice Ginsburg found her experience to be much the opposite. According to CNN documentary RBG, Justice Ginsburg even recalls receiving a dinner invitation to dinner with the dean of Harvard. At this dinner, the dean of Harvard sat down, she and her fellow colleagues, and asked them one simple question: what they were doing here, taking a seat that could have belonged to a man. Ruth did not let this adversary sway her, however, as she later continued on to become the first female member of Harvard's elite legal journal, the Law Review. After 2 years of attending Harvard Law School, Justice Ginsburg became a mother and transferred to Columbia School of Law, where she graduated as first in her class with her Juris Doctorate in the class of 1959, according to History.com. Once she graduated with high honors from her prestigious university, she began to look for work. She didn't expect to be given free handouts or an easier opportunity, but was ready to put her abilities to the test as an attorney at law. One may expect a top-of-class law school graduate to have little trouble finding work, but Justice Ginsburg found her experience to be much the opposite, being turned down by numerous law firms based solely on the fact that she was female. Eventually, Justice Ginsburg accomplished her goal in becoming a working woman and later accepted a job as a professor at her alma mater, Columbia University, where she became the university's first tenured female professor, according to History.com. One may expect someone who's been turned down and overlooked so many times to give up, but this is simply not Justice Ginsburg's style. As we know, Justice Ginsburg later went on to become a litigator, a judge on the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and finally, a Supreme Court justice. Throughout all of this, she also received many awards and recognitions for her dedicated work in the law. Among those, according to CNN.com, she was inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame in 2002 and even given the Bar Association's highest honor, the ABA Medal, in 2010. Throughout all of this, according to USNews.com, she served tirelessly throughout the 1970s as director of the Women's Rights Project of the American Civil Liberties Union. All I ask is for my brethren to take their feet off our necks. To begin an analysis of this latter portion of the quote, one may ask, but who is the R that's stated? Who is the R that is being unduly pushed down? Well, to Justice Ginsburg, the R in this quote is anyone who is not receiving equal protection under the law. As a litigator in her first Supreme Court case, Frontiero v. Richardson, Justice Ginsburg worked tirelessly to represent a woman who had not been given housing by the military based solely on the fact that she was female, according to CNN documentary RBG. But this case is not where Justice Ginsburg stopped, as she later went on to acknowledge that gender discrimination works both ways in the case of Weinberger v. Winesfield, where she represented a man who had been denied Social Security for childcare after losing his wife based solely on the fact that he was male, according to LawAspect.com. Even in her time on the Supreme Court, Justice Ginsburg worked tirelessly to ensure that all those who are being discriminated against receive fair and equal treatment under the law through her well-known and numerous dissenting opinions in favor of civil rights. Among these, the landmark Supreme Court case of Shelby County v. Holder, which deals with voting discrimination among certain states, according to NewYorkTimes.com. As we see the R in this quote, the R that Justice Ginsburg has worked so tirelessly and dedicated her life work to protecting is not dedicated to one side, one person, or even one civil rights issue, but rather anyone who is not being given equal protection under the law. Through these dissenting opinions, accomplishments, and stances, it's obvious to see that Justice Ginsburg has shaped our justice system and the laws we abide by to provide greater protection for those who have been given far less. She lives her life abiding by the very quote that she repeats many times throughout it. I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask is for my brethren to keep their feet off our necks. Justice Ginsburg did not expect an easy road to be laid out before her, but rather took on the beaten path that was presented and paved it in her own way, simultaneously making it an easier road for all of the disadvantage that would follow after her. After all, as stated on CNN documentary RBG, you can't spell truth without Ruth. It is for her accomplishments, expertise, and tireless work in the law and civil rights that I am overwhelmingly pleased to announce that I am gifting this Lifetime Achievement Award to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Thank you.